Franchising is the most misunderstood and most overlooked form of entrepreneurship. We're here to educate you and help you find the entrepreneur within. Franchising is not all about the French fries.
We find that individuals who are exploring business ownership tend to have a lot of misperceptions and misunderstandings about the franchise industry. So what we want to do is help prospective business owners make confident and educated decisions before moving forward or not moving forward with a business. Welcome to Unpredicted Entrepreneur.
Welcome to episode 13 of Unpredicted Entrepreneur. I'm Roxanne Rapsky, and with me is my colleague, Sarah Wasco. As you know, we created this podcast to provide education and information on entrepreneurship, and our focus is on the world of franchising. And it just so happens that our guests today happen to be both a franchisee and a franchisor, so they will be sharing a lot of experience with you. So Matt and Kamille, if you would kindly introduce yourselves and tell us what you're doing now. And then Sarah and I are going to get into some questions about your background and how you came into be business owners.
All right. So my name is Kamille McCollum, and I am the president of Body Bar Franchising. And then we also both own 3 Body Bar Pilates studios in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Yeah, and I'm Matt McCollum, and I'm the CEO of Body Bar Franchising. And I also own another franchise called Made Right, where I came in as a master franchisee. That's actually how I met Sarah several years ago. And so, yeah, I mean, that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what you do now.
Sounds so simple and easy.
Well, a lot has changed since I met Matt because you were just operating your first Body Bar as a franchisee.
Yep.
So very interesting story how things have evolved since then.
So wait, you had the Body Bar franchise first.
Correct.
Yes.
Gotcha.
We signed our franchise agreement in October of 2015 with a 2-week-old, a 1-year-old, and a 13-year-old.
Okay, wait, let's stop there.
Okay.
Since you bring that up, I want to marinate. So you had a 2-week-old, a 1-year-old, and a 13-year-old.
Yep, all girls.
All girls.
Beautiful. Aspen, Ainsley, and Archer.
I'm sure they're gorgeous. So Sarah and I always talk about timing. A lot of our clients say, well, when this happens, when that happens, well, when I'm not so busy, when this... And we always say there's no perfect time, right? If you're waiting for like all the stars to align perfectly, it may never happen. So how crazy was life with you both? I'm assuming you were still working in corporate. You had 3 children. You had just had a baby. What makes you sign a franchise agreement and buy a business?
I mean, I think when you just really want, for me at least, when I really want to do something, nothing's going to stop me. So, we definitely had conversations with the franchisor at the time. They were like, "You're pregnant. This is going to be another baby." But we just really felt, called that this is what we were going to do. And I'm not very good at just sitting still.
She is not a patient woman.
This was just one of those things where we just knew that this is what we wanted to do and we would figure it out. And that was basically where we were.
So Kamille, had you been a business owner before? What were you doing prior to this?
So right whenever we started, I wasn't really working at all, but I've been a school teacher, a social worker, sold insurance, and just done a little bit of everything, like random things, but nothing having to do with running a business, nothing having to do with Pilates.
She was cooking a lot of really good meals at home and watching the Food Network a lot. And I was eating very well. Yeah. Still am.
Yep, exactly. But we just, I always have loved fitness and wellness. And so we knew that we wanted to do something in that realm. And I always have been a runner, and you can't really make a whole lot of money out of running. Like, you've got a few little pop-up shops, but that's about it. So we needed something that could make money, and anything that has membership, every single month, then that's going to be something that you're going to be able to count on, making money every single month with that. So,
yeah.
So we talk about people's why a lot. So you were into fitness, you had that passion. What else? Like what was your real why in wanting to own a business? There was
Well,
something that was there.
Community.
yeah, I think we started. So I was part of another startup, going into this, and we were doing really well. But Kamille and I had talked about wanting to have our own thing, and so we thought about other ideas and concepts. She loved cooking, so we thought about the restaurant business, but we don't know anything about the restaurant business except that we like to eat at restaurants.
And it's a tough business.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's a tough business.
Especially with a 1-year-old and an infant.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
But so we thought about what do we love doing, and we've always loved working out. We've always loved being fit. We always loved community. And that's where Body Bar just kind of aligned all of those things. It was a great workout.
I'll vouch for that. It's a great workout.
Yeah. The whole mantra that Body Bar is about is building community, and so I think that it just the stars aligned, and that was the right thing for us.
Yeah, for me and Matt both, we really wanted somewhere that we can make a difference on people's lives. And so, yes, we can do that with working out, and they can, reach their fitness goals, but then we can also, help bring other people together that maybe have never met before, and then build this, we call it the Body Bar family, and that's what it is. That's what we try to do at all of our locations.
Yeah. And there's some amazing stories
Yes.
about that too. So it's really cool that, in I guess it's been 5-6 years, seeing all of it come to fruition at different paths and different kind of tentacles that cross, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
So before we get into more questions about, because one of the things I really want you to talk to our listeners about is, I'm sure that you had a lot of learnings as a franchisee that makes you a good franchisor. But before we get into that, you did say you were with a startup, but I want to know more about your background.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've done a little bit of everything in the business development world, from cold calling, smile and dialing 100 dials a day, to selling high end things. And so, kind of coming into this, I was the president of a moving services company. We kind of built a niche in the market where we provided kind of on-demand labor for people that wanted help to load or unload a truck or a pods container or whatever. And that market's grown quite a bit. And I keep trying to get out of that industry, but I'm still being sucked back into it. So
Now, are you still employed?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been training my replacement for a couple months, but
Okay.
they keep hanging on to me. So, they keep depositing money in the bank account. And insurance is nice to have and all that. So
Yeah.
So all this time, it's been 5 years, you're still working a day job, and you're a franchisee, and you are a franchisor.
And he's a franchisee with a cleaning franchise as well as Body Bar, plus the job, plus the role as franchisor at Club Pilates.
it made me sound pathetic. I just can't quit things.
It's very impressive.
It's very impressive.
No, it's a lot of work, and we are working on scaling some things back.
Yes.
So, Body Bar is where our heart is. It's where we think something meaningful that will outlive us is, and we really want to. She already is, but I want to put all of my effort and energy that I can into that. So, yeah.
So that kind of leads us to that question: is you started as a franchisee, you found a franchise that you felt like was a good fit. I love how you share the things about it that were your why and what attracted you to that. Mm-hmm. So now, how did you tell us how you became the franchisor?
Well, do we want to go all the way back? So I guess back to our very first year being open, the franchisor at the time, they didn't really quite understand franchising. So they did provide us with some support, but not really the level of support that we felt like a franchisee needed. And
I would say that I learned that too through the Made Right franchise, because I saw what a franchisor support did look like. And as a master franchisee, I understood a little bit more about if I sell a franchise, what my obligations are to those people, and how important it is to keep us on brand standards, and how important it is to help people meet their financial plan, and how important it is for us to help them know they need to have a financial plan. Right. All of those things.
So we we didn't really even have very much support even going through build out and all of those. We did have great support on instructor training, which is the product. So that was huge. And that's, when we started figuring out marketing, we started figuring out sales process, our studio was just busting at the seams, and we were ready to open a second location. And so at that point, Matt went to the franchisor at the time.
Yeah, I went to our partners and just said, hey, how about we just split up? We'll do our thing, you do your thing.
Because they had not sold any other franchise locations.
And the only other franchisee in the system was very unhappy and disgruntled. So they asked us if we would be interested in taking over the franchise system. And, with my experience being a master franchisee, I said, well, let's think about it. And so we kind of dove in. That was June of 2018. Mm-hmm. We dove in and started exploring the market. And really quickly we realized, besides one national competitor, there was definitely room for a number two mover in the space. And realized myself quickly that if we don't move quickly, we would miss out on that opportunity. So we spent that whole year basically building out our business plan, going to all the conferences, the IFAs, the springboards,
So IFA is International Franchise Association, just to clarify that. It's an organization specific to franchisors and franchisees.
And it's a great place to learn the industry and, walk the trade shows. And so we started kind of curating who our partners were going to be in real estate and construction. So that all kind of came together, and in June of 2019, we executed an agreement, and we took over as executive leaders of the brand. And then the work really started, even though it felt like we'd been working the whole time. Then we had to basically rewrite the whole FDD, put together all the systems that weren't in place before. And then in October of 2019 is when we actually started selling.
Yep.
Right before February of 2020.
Yes. We sold our first location in November and then
December.
December of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And so when did you start? You said you spent about a year or so. It went from October, did you say, of 2018? Or like
June
what was
of
the timeline? June of
2018
2018.
to June of 2019 is when we actually subscribed to be the executive leaders. And then June, July, August, September, we were kind of building our team, putting our process in place. We chose to sell through a franchise sales organization, which for us made a lot of sense because it helps to keep your costs down as you're trying to build and kind of get some brand recognition. Mm-hmm. And so they started selling us in October, November timeframe. Yep. We signed our first, I know it's December because it's December 2nd. My birthday's on December 3rd.
Oh, yeah.
So, and we signed another franchise this year on December 3rd.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you. Yes. Seems like my birthday, we sign a franchisee every year now. So.
We got to keep that up.
That's right.
That's a good plan.
That's right.
So you were talking about the franchise sales organization, just to maybe kind of clarify that those are organizations that come in and help basically emerging brands in a lot of situations with their franchise sales to kind of take that load off in the event that the franchisor doesn't have those people on staff. So I just kind of wanted to explain that to our viewers and listeners in the event that they weren't really clear on what that is. There's franchise development companies out there that partner with franchisors to do their sales.
So you don't have to hire a whole department of people to handle that for you.
Yeah, it really makes a lot of the cost on the back end versus the front end. They're really good at what they do until a worldwide pandemic hits, and then it's hard to, move locations.
Fitness,
So,
at the beginning of COVID, everybody was unsure, will people ever will they ever work out again? But we found very quickly that especially the community portion that we have at Body Bar, that is what kept us going and alive, and people, they wanted to come back to their instructors in their studio. So
we offered digital classes during the shutdown time frame. And I remember February 2020, Joe Stockman was at our Discovery Day, and he obviously paused his activities, but he ended up signing and just opened in East Cobb, Georgia, 2 months ago, August. Yep. Yeah.
No, he was last month, October.
Okay. Time flies.
Yeah. Well, and I would like to say, as a member, that it took me a while to want to go. You miss it,
Yes.
and working out at home is it's boring.
Yeah.
And I know some people love it. I'm not that person. And the other thing that I like is I like my whole workout thought out for me. I just show up and I do what somebody tells me, and I don't have to think about it. It's like, in the gym, you're like, okay, well, I guess I'll go over there and I'll do some of this, I'll do some of that. But it's very clean. And then all the reformers are spaced out. So when I went back, and the other thing is I can't work out with a mask on because I need to be able to breathe. So I felt like it was really clean. I felt like it was really safe. And it's been a while now that I've been going, and I appreciate having a clean, safe place to go that gives me a great workout. So you guys do a great job.
It's not crammed with people. And I think people, now that obviously a lot of time has passed since the pandemic hit us, and we've adjusted to some extent, that people recognize the value of taking care of their health.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
staying well and staying strong, and the preventative measures. And so you have a good environment, as Roxanne pointed out, and a good facility for people to feel safe and still be able to get strong and healthy.
Exactly.
Well, and I think just to the point of this conversation, when we started our business plan for this, we looked at Pilates America study, and it said that the 3 primary reasons that people pick where they're going to practice Pilates is, number 1, quality of instruction. And so that is the pillar that we build our studios on, is having great quality instruction. Number 2 is availability. People need to be able to get in at different times. Everybody has different
Schedules.
levels of busyness in their life. And number 3 was cleanliness of the studio. And so, those are 3 pillars that we've consistently built upon, in our build out of our studios and how we take care of them. Is your experience being a member, like, you disinfect your bed after every use. And so when people come in, it's ready for the next person. So we think that coming out of COVID, that people are less likely to want to be in the crowded gyms.
Right.
They want more direction, they want community, and they want to be in a clean, safe place, and that's what Body Bar is.
Absolutely.
No, you guys have done a phenomenal job. What do you think? Well, I have a couple questions for you floating around in my head. What do you look for in a potential franchisee? For someone that's out there that's thinking about starting their own business, we all have different skill sets. For your particular concept, I know it's different for different concepts, but what do you look for as far as skill sets? Like, who's a great Body Bar franchisee?
I think for us, someone who loves people. They don't have to be an extrovert. They can be introverted. They can hire that extroverted studio manager if they need to. But you have to love on people, because community is such a huge part of what the Body Bar brand is all about. So I think that's a huge one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's, absolutely spot on. I think any service industry, you have to have a level of love or empathy or concern for others. But I think that's a key quality in getting joy out of being a Body Bar franchise owner. I think number 2 is just having a little grit. Being a business owner, it's a jigsaw puzzle, and it's you got to find the right pieces sometimes. And so I think going into it with a strong franchisor who's going to help you build a good plan is one of the reasons why you go the franchise route versus hanging a shingle. And our job, I feel like, is to help them build their plan, help them execute their plan. But ultimately, road bumps are going to happen, and they've got to figure out how to navigate those things. So I think that's a big component as well.
Yep.
So how important is it to have an understanding about Pilates, or have ever been to a Pilates class?
We actually signed franchisees over Zoom discovery days during the shutdown that never tried a class at all. So I don't think you have to. Yes, if you like to stay healthy and if you enjoy fitness, I think that is definitely a plus. But overall, you don't even have to be on the reformer to run a studio. So
yeah, I think that the business model is it's a membership model. It's reoccurring revenue. And, we track all the KPIs, and we help our franchise owners understand, if they're performing at system standards, or if they're below. And if they're below, where's the breakdown? And we're able to dissect that and say, okay, you're not getting enough leads, or, hey, you're getting enough leads, you're not getting enough appointments, or you're getting enough leads and appointments, but you're not having enough show up. Or there's a breakdown from when they show up to actually converting to a member. So we need to work on this process. So it's, that's part of, again, being part of a franchise. Like, you have a system standards that you can measure yourself against, and then you can figure out, all right, where's my pain point? Where do I fix these things? So it's not even about Pilates, even though that is why members come. They want to be on the reformer. We learned that during COVID. But as a business owner, it's about, just following the model, building your recurring membership revenue, and
hiring
having fun.
good people.
Hiring good people, yeah. Yeah, we have been very blessed in our hiring. Like, we've had and do have amazing people.
Yep.
Both on the franchisor and the studio side.
Studio side, yeah.
Well, and I think as an owner of a studio, a body bar Pilates studio, that's what we would call a more sticky employee, right? That's somebody that has gone to school, they've been trained, they really enjoy what they do. So that's somebody, I think, that's more likely to stick around. It's not just a minimum wage job that
Right.
could go away tomorrow.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, with our staff, well, and what's you kind of touched on, it made me think about, like, that's part of the reason with us owning our own studios and having experience in our studios, where we see the same things that our franchisees see in their studios.
Yes.
It gives a lot of just, they realize that we understand what they're going through and how we've, maybe hit those road bumps along the way. And then for us with hiring,
We've made all the mistakes.
yeah, we made mistakes. And we can test things in our own studios before we roll it out to the whole system. But then with hiring, when we hire people, they know, hey, there's some growth that could happen within the system, because we are continuing to grow to add to our franchising team too. So it's been fun for sure.
I think knowing that your franchisor is a franchisee and knows what the needs of the franchisees are is a huge asset, a huge benefit, because you've already been down that road and you shared what you recognized that you needed that you weren't receiving, and so you've been able to go through and improve those things.
Exactly.
And it was also interesting, kind of Matt's point, being a franchisee with another brand, because when you're a first-time business owner, you really don't have a frame of reference. You've never done this before. This is your franchise. You don't know. So with y'all being in two brands, he was able to say, well, I'm getting this support over here, and this is what's lacking over here. So it was really advantageous to be able to take what you learned in one and apply it to the other.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's just like life experiences that we all have. And, whether you come into this and become a business owner at 20 or you do it at 50, like you're bringing some level of life experiences. And so we've just been fortunate enough to where some of those have helped to make and shape better decisions for us as we keep going. I think one of the things that's really important to me is, like, when we have our Meet the Team days, which is discovery days, we tell our franchise prospects, like, we've been in your seat, like we've understood and wrestled with, is this the right decision? Is this the right brand? Is this the right team? Are they going to support me? Are they going to help me accomplish my goals? Because I'm about to spend a lot of money and a lot of time, effort, and energy, and we have.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well, and for our listeners, Meet the Team Day and or Discovery Day is a step in the process of franchise due diligence that's at the very end before you decide to sign on with that franchise or not. So you've probably spent a good 30 to 60 to 90 days doing all of your research. And then at the very end, the last thing that you do is you go to Meet the Team Day. So you get to meet the founders, everyone that's going to be supporting you at corporate, and really decide culturally if it's a good fit and whether or not you want to move forward. So that's what Matt was referring to.
Yep.
Yeah, and the culture fit is huge. We chat with our clients about that all the time, and we already referenced earlier about, franchise development companies kind of being involved. And I would coach my clients that's great if you really connected with this franchise development person, but they're not going to be involved if you move forward with this business. So it's important to go to Meet the Team Day or Discovery Day and meet the leadership, meet the people in charge of operations and marketing and those things to really see if that's a fit for you and if you have trust and if that's a team of people that you really want to partner with for the next 10 years. A lot of franchisors call their franchisees franchise partners. So that's a good way to really think about it. You've already referenced family, the franchise family. And so are these people that you believe in and trust.
Yep.
I mean, I've said before, this is a 10-year marriage at least, and it can be a great one or it can be a rocky one, and we want it to be great, but it's all about getting the right people in the system and supporting them appropriately.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and to that point also is I always tell my clients that franchises are not purchased, they are awarded. So just as closely as that potential franchisee is looking at you, Body Bar, to make sure you're the right fit for them, you in turn, as a franchisor, are also looking at them, right?
Absolutely.
Because who wants to sign up for a bad marriage, right?
Right.
So it needs to be a good fit on both sides.
Absolutely.
Right?
And we do. I mean, there's definitely been times that we were like, this is just not going to be a good fit. Sometimes it's purely they're not going to be willing to release some of their other duties, and they're not going to be able to give the focus that we feel like they need to give. And sometimes it's just culturally, like we were like, they're not on that same kind of love people side of business.
And you have a
so-
brand to protect.
Exactly. And
And
especially with our first, like as we're growing, it's so important for us to have good partners that and they all can talk to each other and build each other up
Yes.
and learn from each other. So we need people that are willing to do that.
Yeah, and I think to that point, part of our responsibility to our franchise partners is that we are protecting and growing their investment, right?
Yeah.
So they're boots on the ground, building their location and building the value of that location. But at some point, everybody comes into business with an exit point in mind, and so what we need to be doing as a franchisor is to help build the brand and to help protect the brand from bad operators. So that whenever they are ready to exit, hopefully and ideally, the value of their single location has increased just because the brand awareness has increased too.
True. Lots of good stuff.
Lots of good stuff. Thank y'all so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you taking time out of your day to really share your insight on being a franchisee and being a franchisor. For more valuable content from Unpredicted Entrepreneur and Roxanne and I, you can find us on LinkedIn, Roxanne Rapsky and Sarah Wasco. Please also follow us on our YouTube channel, which is FranNet of Dallas, Fort Worth, and Oklahoma. And you can find this podcast there in video format, along with lots of other helpful videos. And you can also download this podcast wherever you enjoy listening to your podcast. So thanks again for joining us. It was a pleasure having you today, and we'll see you next time.
Before we sign off, Kamille and Matt, if someone wanted to find you, how would they find you?
Probably bodybarpilates.com, or you can email us directly. I'm Kamille, Kamille, at bodybarpilates.com.
Yep. And I'm Matt at bodybarpilates.com.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.